no place like the Q. Family, it's your favorite queer radio personality, Anna Deshawn, and this is Queer News, your favorite weekly news pod where race and sexuality meet politics, culture, and entertainment.
Ma Rainey was unapologetically and not subtly queer.
Can we please talk about the chorus girls?
In 1925, Ma Rainey was arrested for holding a lesbian orgy in her home with some of the women in her chorus.
You better lesbian orgy it, okay?
Plot twist.
Come through, Amanda, with the plot twist, okay? To get said plot twist, though, you've got to listen or watch the full episode. The audio version dropped here on the feed on Friday. But if you want to watch, tap in to E3 Radio's YouTube channel. You know what you got to do. Turn on the notifications bell so you don't miss a thing, okay? Because this is queer history done right. Also, family, I love how y'all been dropping tips for me, okay? Keep them coming, keep them coming. Send your story ideas you think I should cover. I love when you send me things because so often I hadn't heard about the place, the person, the organization. And if I haven't heard about them, I'm sure others haven't either. So keep sending in your queer news tips, okay? You already know how to submit is in the show notes. QCrew, you already know. I can never say thank you enough, ever, for your continued support of this podcast. You all help to sustain this thing, okay? You all's monthly donations help me to pay our editor, Ryan, who does an amazing job, wouldn't you say? He is fantastic. And you all help to sustain this podcast. So thank you. And family, if you're listening to this and you don't currently contribute, I really, really ask that you consider it, okay? It starts as low as $5 a month. That's how much you pay for a coffee or a tea or a croissant, huh? So family, if you believe in the work we do, if you believe LGBTQ stories need to be amplified, if you love and respect how I report on the news and tell our stories, join the QCrew. A link is in the show notes. Now for the news. We remember Amyri Dior, a Black trans woman whose life was taken because of fear and hate. In politics, Kentucky's governor continues to stand up for LGBTQ folks, and Representative Sarah McBride follows suit by standing up for herself, too. In culture and entertainment, a survey shows that 1 in 10 Americans identify as LGBTQ. We out here, okay? A trans woman wins a $900,000 settlement, and Chappell Roan drops a lesbian country track. That's right. And family, get this, we're participating in a Podcasthon. That's right. I get to tell you all about it in a bit, but we're going to be supporting one of my favorite nonprofits here in Chicago, Taskforce Community and Prevention Services. Now, for all my real ones out there, I need y'all to listen to the very end of today's episode because during Anna's Got a Word, I share how an important member of our community needs our help right now, okay? So let's get into it. Family, our top story today is about Amyri Dior, a 23-year-old Black trans woman who was killed February 21st in Milwaukee. But let me tell you, I did not hear about this story until they found the man that killed her just last week, 22-year-old Davion Sneed. He's now in custody and facing 1 count of first-degree intentional homicide. Now, if convicted, he'll face a mandatory life sentence. So what do we know? We know Amyri was a sex worker. We also know, based on Facebook messages, that Amyri and Davion began talking in early January, and they had a sexual relationship. The investigation has reported that Amyri had threatened to expose his secret, okay? Conversations and photographs on social media if he didn't get her $200. He replied and said he was trying to get it. Now, the investigators were also able to obtain messages from Davion's phone where he was texting someone asking for bullets and saying he needed them badly. Then we know what happened next, right? He met up with Amyri and he shot her 3 times. A resident of the townhomes where this all took place in Milwaukee heard the gunshots. She came out into the hallway and found Amyri. And before she passed away at the scene of the crime, she said Davion's name and asked the resident to check her phone. That's right. She did that after being shot 3 times. Her family says she loved to sing, she loved to dance. Her mom said, live in your truth. I just want to tell everybody to live in the truth. It doesn't matter who you are, just be open about it. Be an open book so your family can know who you are and you can be able to be loved for who you are. Now, family, we know this isn't easy in today's climate, right? It's much easier to say than to do or to practice. But for my trans siblings, please be safe out here, okay? These men are not comfortable in their own skin. They are not comfortable with their attraction to trans women, and they often do not value your life. Please, family, be careful out here. Amyri Dior, we speak your name today. Now in politics, I am always happy to see Kentucky's Governor Andy Beshear making the news. Okay, he's a Democrat who has 10 toes down for the community. Back in 2024, I reported about how he banned conversion therapy in his state. And yes, I am still talking about Kentucky, okay? Now, last week, the Fairness Campaign, Kentucky's LGBTQ advocacy organization, held its annual Fairness Rally at the Kentucky State Capitol. They gather political leaders, activists, and organizations to speak out against the anti-LGBTQ bills being proposed in their legislature. When I heard this clip on the Human Rights Campaign's IG page, okay, I had to go to the governor's YouTube page to hear the whole thing. Now, hear what he had to say.
Kentucky and the rest of the United States cannot possibly reach its full potential unless our people feel supported to be themselves. Discrimination against our LGBTQ plus community is unacceptable. It holds us back, and in my Kentucky accent, it ain't right. It's not about Democrat or Republican. It's not about politics at all for me. It's living my faith that says every child is a child of God, deserving of dignity and respect. It's my belief that it's our job to lift everyone up and not tear anyone down. The politics of fear and hate are wrong. The politics of compassion and love are right. So I know a lot of people are scared right now about what the president is going to do next, and your rights being in danger. To our LGBTQ Kentuckians, we're here for you. We see you, we love you, and we support you.
What do we want? When do we want it? We won't give up. We won't give in because what do we want? When do we want it? Now!
Did y'all hear that? Yeah, Kentucky's governor. Can we please have more governors like this? Please. Thank you, Governor Beshear, for your leadership and for your support. Next in politics, let's talk about Representative Sarah McBride. Finally, y'all, finally standing up for herself. Now, you all know her by name by now because I've talked about her a few times on this podcast, but also because she was at the center of that awful anti-trans bathroom policy instituted by Mike Johnson after it was introduced by Nancy Mace. Not to mention, she made history in November, becoming the country's first openly transgender congressperson, and she is out of Delaware, okay? Now, in her acceptance speech, she said, "We know here in Delaware a different politics is possible. A politics of hope, not of hate. A politics of grace, not of grievance. A politics of progress, not of pettiness." Well, let me tell y'all something. She is not in Delaware anymore, okay? And I am so glad it seems she has found her pettiness. Now, let me tell y'all what happened. Over the last few months, since Sarah joined Congress, she has been repeatedly misgendered by her colleagues, and she's ignored it. Literally, they have misgendered her and she hasn't said a word. It has been frustrating for me, okay? I want her to buck up, okay? I want her to go hard, but that's just not who she is. She hasn't said a word, okay? It's been frustrating me. Now, y'all know my forever First Lady, Michelle Obama, had to say about going high, okay? When they go low, we go high. But let me tell y'all something. That was in 2016, okay? It is 2025, and it is time to go low. It is time to go low, okay, from time to time. Texas Congressman Keith Self, Republican, okay, decided to misgender Sarah during a House subcommittee hearing. Now, this hearing was held by the Europe Subcommittee of the House Foreign Affairs on arms control and international security. All of those words put together sound really important to me. Well, after being misgendered, she not only stood up for herself, but so did her Democratic colleague, Bill Keating, out of Massachusetts. And he did it in a big way, okay? Sitting right next to that Texas congressman. He did it in a big way. Hear how it all went down.
I now recognize the representative from Delaware, Mr. McBride.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Mr. Chairman, you are out of order. Mr. Chairman, have you no decency? I've come to know you a little bit, but this is not decent.
We will continue this.
You will not continue it with me unless you introduce a duly elected representative the right way.
This hearing is adjourned.
Yeah, can you believe that? Instead of correcting himself or apologizing, he decided to adjourn the whole session. Then a couple of days later, during the House Democrats' 2025 Issues Conference for the freshman women, they held a press conference. And hear what Sarah had to say about this whole thing.
We will not take a lecture on decorum from a party that incited an insurrection. I appear to live rent-free in the minds of some of my Republican colleagues. I wish that they would spend even a fraction of the time that they spend thinking about me, thinking about how to lower the costs for American families. I wish they would spend a fraction of the time that they spend thinking about me, figuring out how to make government actually work better, rather than making it work worse in order to prove that government can't work. They are obsessed with culture war issues. The Republican Party is obsessed with culture war issues. It is weird and it is bizarre. And the American people deserve serious legislators, serious elected officials who are focused on bringing people together to deliver real results for the American people.
This is what I love to see, okay? Sarah needs her colleagues to stand up for her. She's a freshman congressperson just trying to do the work. But all these people can fixate on is her gender identity. She needs real comrades in this fight, and I'm so glad Congressman Keating was there that day. Because family, there's a lot of political stories to choose from, okay? These days, I am never short of content, but I choose these stories today in hope that it reminds you that we are not alone out here, okay? We have comrades. We have people who will fight back with us. I know this is queer news, but please know I follow all the news, and I deeply understand how awful things are right now for anyone who is not a white cis male. And if you do not know, this podcast is hosted by a Black queer woman, which couldn't be further from a white cis man. So I hope these stories that I brought you today bring you a little bit of light in the midst of all this darkness all around us, okay? Because we can't fight alone. We've got comrades, even in this political space, who are willing to stand up. All right, family, I think this is a good time for us to take a quick break. And when we get back, we'll get into culture and entertainment.
If you're hearing this, it means we didn't sell this ad space. If you're hearing this, it means running ads on our podcast actually can work. You see what I did there? You see this real life example? You got an event, do you have an organization, do you got something you need to get the word out about? We got rates starting as low as $100. Check the link in our show notes for more information.
My name is Jake Wittick. I am the managing editor of Windy City Times, which is Chicago's legacy LGBTQ plus newspaper since 1985. And this is a really exciting time to be part of the Windy City Times team because we're turning 40 this year and the paper's really primed to undergo a renaissance. And that's because we've been leveling up our newsletter game. And what's really exciting is Black Lines, which Anna is the writer for. And Black Lines is a publication that covered Chicago's Black queer community in the 90s and early 2000s. We've brought it back. So the newsletter shares current events, current news, features, everything affecting Black queer people, but also dives into the archives. So it's a really fun past meets present, and it's lifting up voices that are often underrepresented in news.
Jake, I am so excited to be part of reviving Black Lines. Family, if you want to subscribe, a link is in the show notes.
Family, welcome back to the show. Now let's get into culture and entertainment. Get this, family. A recent Gallup survey is reporting that nearly 1 in 10 adults identify as LGBTQ. That's right. Get 10 people in a lineup and at least one of them is queer. Last year, they held random telephone interviews with 14,000 adults living in every state in the country. Get this, about 900 of them identified somewhere on the LGBTQ spectrum. Generationally, where do you think the biggest leak took place? Let me share. Let me give you the breakdown. Because if you said Gen Z, you are absolutely correct, okay? Our 19 to 28-year-olds are adults, okay? And 23% of them identify as family. That's major. And let me give you the comparisons. Millennials are at 14%. Gen X is at 5%. Baby boomers are at 3%. And my 80-year-olds and up, okay, they at 1.8%. I guess I can just make them 2%. And let's be clear that the B is still the front runner, okay? More people identify as bisexual than anything else. 56% to be exact identify as bi. And for our Gen Zers alone, that's our 19 to 28-year-olds, 59% identify as bisexual. My millennials, okay, those my people, okay, we are at 52%. We out here. And history will look back at this time right now the same way we looked at marriage equality. Like, what were they thinking? For our next culture story, we are celebrating Diana Portillo, a Latina trans woman who experienced misgendering and harassment at work in a Washington area McDonald's. But let me tell you, 10 years ago, she decided to sue. And recently, she was awarded $930,000 in punitive damages and emotional distress. That's right, it took 10 years, but she never gave up. And today, she is giving back to those who gave to her. She's helping LGBTQ youth navigate health insurance and their immigration status. And she is telling the young people, never give up the fight. $930,000 after 10 years. She never gave up. If that does not inspire you today, I got some more for you later, okay? But we want to give Diana Portillo all the love in this moment. Because she not only fought, but she's giving back to help those who helped her. I love this story. Come on, more culture and entertainment, please. In entertainment, family, Chappell Roan does it again. She makes the conservatives mad, and I love it. This time, it's because she has given country music a try. Over the weekend, she dropped a new track called The Giver. And on YouTube, I checked, family, it's already at 1.5 million views. Okay, let me read you a few of the lyrics. Cause you ain't got to tell me. It's just in my nature. So take it like a taker. Cause baby, I'm a giver. Ain't no need to hurry. Cause baby, I deliver. Ain't no country boy quitter. I get the job done. She said she get the job done, okay? She said she's a giver. That's what Chappell Roan said. Now, she said in an interview on Amazon Music's Country Heat weekly podcast that, quote, I'm not trying to convince a country crowd that they should listen to my music by baiting them with a country song. That's not what I feel like I'm doing. I just think a lesbian country song is really funny, so I wrote that. And she did. And I love how she's embracing her own Midwest roots, where she says she heard country music everywhere she went growing up. She also said in an interview that country music gives her freedom that pop music doesn't. I say be free, Chappell Roan. Be free, okay? Because we're here for these lyrics. I can't wait to make a TikTok about this, okay? I cannot wait. Now, family, earlier in the show, I teased that we're a part of a Podcasthon this week, and that's absolutely right. We joined the movement with adding a segment to this episode about a charity that we care about. That's what this Podcasthon is all about. Over 1,600 podcasts have signed up, okay? It is the world's largest podcast charity initiative. Period. It's bringing together podcasters globally to raise awareness for charity causes that they care about. Yeah, I thought this was so dope. A podcast homie got me connected to the founders. I talked with one of them, and I just really believe in what they're doing. I think this is fantastic. It's part of what I do as well with my company, E3 Radio. We give back to my favorite nonprofits every year with a gala called the Purple Tie Affair. And when this opportunity was presented to me, I said, well, we should absolutely highlight the organization we're going to give back to later this year. And so that's exactly what I did. I talked to my friend Chris Beltazar, who is the executive director of Taskforce Prevention and Community Services, and he shared with us a little bit about the work they do. Take a listen to what Chris had to say.
LGBTQ plus youth, I know firsthand how life-changing it is to have access to safe spaces, affirming support, and real opportunities for growth. I do this work because I believe every young person, no matter their background, deserves to feel seen, valued, and empowered to reach their full potential. Taskforce is more important now than ever because LGBTQ plus youth, particularly Black and brown queer youth, continue to face major barriers to healthcare, housing, education, and safety. With rising anti-LGBTQ plus sentiment and increasing mental health challenges, the need for safe, community-driven support is critical. At Taskforce, we provide a lifeline. We offer mental health support, gender-based violence services, HIV/STI testing, job training, and leadership development in a space where young people can be themselves without fear. But we're not just meeting immediate needs, we're building long-term pathways to success, equity, and self-determination. Right now, we're embarking on a $9 million expansion campaign to build a state-of-the-art community center on Chicago's West Side because our young people deserve a space that reflects their worth and potential. To learn more and to find ways that you can get involved in our work, please visit our website, which is www.taskforcechicago.org. Together, we can ensure that LGBTQ plus youth not only survive, but thrive. Thank you.
For real, family. Thank you, Chris, for everything that you do, for everything that Taskforce is doing. And I am so excited that we are giving back to this wonderful organization this year for our Purple Tie Affair. If you are in Chicago, it will be the first Saturday in October at Sidetrack, okay? We're going to party with a purpose and look good doing it, okay? So I hope you can join us, or I hope that you choose to donate and support this fantastic organization doing life-changing work here in Chicago. Now, family, for our last story today, of course, we're talking women's basketball. That has been a theme this season, and I think I'm going to stick with it. Little known fact, I played on the boys basketball team in grammar school. Okay, my dad is a Hall of Fame coach. I grew up a gym rat. I went to school to be Robin Roberts. I wanted to be a sportscaster on ESPN. I've done play-by-play announcing during that time in my life. It's just radio took a hold, okay? But my love for sports is so real, and women's basketball is my absolute favorite. And women's basketball right now is on fire, okay? Unrivaled semifinals took place last night in Miami, and the games were so good. The Laces versus the Rose, it was a toss-up. It could have went either way, especially with Angel Reese out, but Chelsea Gray, The future Hall of Fame player herself showed out, okay? She had the first 40-point game in Unrivaled history, and it took place in the semifinals. What terrible timing for the Laces, okay? And then she clinched it with that 3-point shot. She waved bye-bye. That's what she said. She waved bye-bye to the Laces in that moment. Ooh, it was a good game. And then to cap it all off with the Owls versus the Vinyl. And we all knew that the Owls were going to win, right? I mean, they've only lost one game all season. Nafisa Collier been balling her butt off. She was the MVP of the league. Oh, but no. The Vinyl had other plans. They sure did. And they upset the number 1 team in the league. That was one of the best games I've seen in Unrivaled. And that is tough because there have been so many great games this season. But Derica Hamby said, I'm taking control of this play. She said, I called an audible. She said, I wanted it. That's what she said. She said, I wanted it. And so I took it. And she hit that final shot, the game winner. Okay. Jordan Canada was showing out. Ryan Howard, the whole team on the Vinyl. It was absolutely their best game of the entire season. And so now, Monday night, 7:30 p.m. Eastern on TNT and True TV, the Unrivaled playoff finals is taking place. It will be the Rose versus the Vinyl. Nobody saw that coming, and I'm here for it, okay? So y'all make sure y'all tune in to support. Even if you're listening to this and you don't like women's basketball, turn it on, put it on mute, go do something else, okay? They need the ratings. We need to show that we want women's basketball. Yes, when the WNBA is in off season. This league is special. They're showing the WNBA how to treat them. And child, it don't get much better than that. Family, it's that time for Anna's Got a Word, because Anna's always got a word. And in the same vein as my Unrivaled story, we have a member of our community who needs our support, okay? Do you follow Mechanics Shop Femme on TikTok? I mean, I've been following Chaya for a very long time. And if you do follow, like I do, we are 1 or 2 of 500,000 people. Like, she nearly has 600,000 people following her on TikTok. She teaches women and femmes how to take care of their cars. She does it in such a fun and relatable way. She recently posted a couple of videos on TikTok this past weekend sharing how business isn't going well. She talked about how falling ill with whooping cough really set her back. She also talks about how these diversity, equity, and inclusion cuts, right, have slowed her business. And on top of all of that, how the tariffs on the automotive industry are also impairing her from doing her work in that space. Chile, Chaya needs our help. And if you're listening this far into the podcast, at the very end, it means you're a real one. It means you're a real one, okay? It means you care on a whole nother level. So if you have a few extra dollars to buy her book, to donate to her GoFundMe, or to just send some cash to her Venmo or Cash App, do it. I included her link that has a link to everything that she's doing in the show notes, okay? We gotta support each other during these times. Even before these times, it was imperative, mandatory, required activity to support our own. Because if we don't, who will? We all we got out here, okay? So check the link in the show notes. Y'all know what to do. And I'll be back next week. Take good care of yourself, okay? Peace. If you've enjoyed what you heard, rate and review us inside your favorite podcasting app. This podcast is written and produced by me, Anna Deshawn. Podcast editing by Ryan Woodhall. And brought to you by E3 Radio and distributed on The Cube. We are Queer News Done Right.